Hello, everybody. Good. Good. Hi. We've had some very interesting questions from a lady who's going director. So that's great. I really had to do some more research. Right. Does everybody know? This is going to be question and answers. Anybody know why you have to have your personal 100 PV on the day of month end? Does anybody know? Now I see that out and it says by 6 o'clock walk-in must have their own 100 PV. And online must have their 100 PV by midnight on that day. You know why?
To pick up any downlines or customers that may have purchased.
Yeah.
Because you don't get paid.
Yeah.
But the whole reason behind this, because it never used to be like that. So what's happening? Why is it suddenly that it's so vital that you put your 100 PV?
I've always believed, and that's why I asked the question, because I was trying to look for it, because I want to try and motivate my folkies, and I couldn't find what I wanted to tell them. But when I first joined, I was told that the points get stashed in a sort of a back account in the back office, and they build up. But the minute you don't have your 100 PV in 1 month, you lose all those points and you start all over again.
Yeah, well, you do.
So basically that qualifies you for a bonus.
No.
No.
No, but you must have 100 PV, then qualify 3%, 5%, or 10%.
Yes.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you have 250 PV and you haven't got your own 100 PV.
Yes.
Then you won't qualify.
Correct.
That's right. And no matter what happens, you always start from new month new,
Yes.
no matter what happens. So you don't accumulate any PV into the next month at all.
No.
Okay. So that's the one thing. The other thing is the reason why they do it is, for instance, and it was happening all the time, and that's why they stopped. They started making it compulsory, because if you didn't have your 100 PV, your world team leader or your president's team, they could go in and they could give you your 100 PV if they saw that your downline were doing something and you missed out, because you can have your 100 PV. So they could help you. Okay. Now they can't do that anymore, because on the end of the month, when they say shut off, it's 100 PV. That's it. So if the world team member or the president team go in on a Monday, when we go in to check everything, and we go in the next day, so we'll go in on Tuesday, president's team on Wednesday. We go in on Tuesday, say for instance, and I see that Sean has got 2,000 PV, but he hasn't got 100 PV. I used to be able to give him 100 PV. I could transfer my PV to him so that he could qualify. Can't do that anymore, because what was happening, your upline was relying on you. So when you are, say, Ruby, you've got 5 directors, about that. Four directors, okay? Now, if suddenly someone goes and puts on 100 PV on somebody else's number, you've only got 3. You don't qualify as a 4 review. You qualify as a 3. So it messes the whole system up. 6. Now, 4 review. Or 2 review. Yeah. Whatever it is, so you can just drop your PVs. And it used to happen. So, for instance, if I wanted Mandy to go this year, Mandy, I want you to go on your World Conference this year, but you have to be a director. So I could transfer 4,000 to you so that you can go on your trip. Lovely, fabulous, you're going with me, you've done so well. Next month, you can't do anything because you haven't done anything. You're back to nothing. So it caused a lot of unsettlement and what have you. It was quite legitimate. It wasn't, nobody was doing anything underhand. It was quite kosher, but that's why they put a stop to it. So that's why you must get your 100 PV, personal PV. And you can, Jenny, you can have, say, 50 to this month, 20 next month, 30 next month, as long as on that day that it's month end, you've got your 100 in your name. So, yeah, you can put in bits and pieces, that's fine. Okay. Any questions on that one?
But you must have that 100 PV in 1 month.
You
Yes.
must have that 100 PV in your month, yes.
Debbie, my question was, now I understand that you've got to have 100 PV in order to get on the board, as we always
Yes.
said.
Yes.
But it's sort of, your points get stored in the back office, not on your page, but in the back office. So it mounts up. So I understood it that when you went director, you still had to have your 4,000 PV, your own 100 and 4,000 in your team. But long as you had an accumulated, I think it was 10,000,
10,000.
then you could become a director. So now that's why I'm saying, if you miss 1 month of less than 100 PV, you forfeit that back office.
That's
And you've
right.
lost all those points. Am I right?
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
Thank
Quite
you.
Quite
Tick.
correct. And here it is. To become a director, your option 1, you've got 2 options of becoming a director. The one is be a qualified executive director or even higher. So that's at least 2,000 qualified directors per month and be an active distributor. In other words, you've got to have your 100 PV and accumulate 4,000 in a sales month. You
Yes.
must have your own 100 PV. So you
Yes.
can do it that way. Other way is be a near life qualified senior manager. It's for someone like Hansi or Mandy. And an active distributor, in other words, your personal 100 PV every month. And then you accumulate 10,000 in 6 months. So
Yes.
they keep it, and you can see it. They actually got a column where they're adding it up. So you can
Yes.
actually see it.
Yes.
In 6 months period, and in your last month,
You've got to have 4,000.
you got to have your 4,000.
Correct. Oh, thank
Okay.
you.
All right. Everybody happy? All on the same page.
Yep.
Yes.
That's good. So, yeah, look, we always tell everybody, if you want to be in your life, get your 100 PV. And it's so easy to get your 100 PV. I mean, it's not a difficult. I don't know if it's just me or what, but I mean, gee, just buy a case of aloe vera plus,
Or three TNN or something.
Yeah, anything.
3 120s if it's available.
Yeah. And the thing is, you don't even have to buy with your own money. Once you start to earn, they say that once you're earning, even as a senior manager, you should be applying 10% back into your business. And that's part of it.
Yeah. Just by the way, a case of aloe vera plus isn't going to get you 100 PV.
No, it's 96 or something.
72.
Yeah, the TNN, when it's available, is the cheapest
Yeah.
in price and the best in PV.
Most PV.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. A 6-pack of 60 is 100
Gives you
PV.
102. Yeah.
And you're making.
That's always my go-to.
Yeah.
That's always my go-to. If I'm short, then I just take a case of TNN.
And you're making nearly 500 in profit.
Please be advised, I wasn't going to put this in until now, that in Durban, collections that following items are temporarily out of stock. It's the sports, the all-sea chewable, and the liquid light. TNN is back in stock. Then in Joburg, the following item is temporarily out. Your omega-3, your sports program, and your vitamin C, all C, and your super grow are out of stock. The rest are in stock.
Is that the 60 Amigas?
Yes.
Yes.
Because the 90
Due in next week. They're due in next week.
And have you received the notification that the 250 ml Supergrow is going out? And
Yeah.
they're replacing it with a liter Supergrow, and I think that's a fantastic idea.
Yeah. So no longer Supergrow will come in a little bottle, right?
No, I'm so glad to hear that.
That's good. I was just trying to work out
Very
the
good.
price. Because I think
Yeah,
5
that's
liters
it.
is a bit extreme, and 250 is
Yeah.
it's a nice sample bottle, but it's a bit small.
Yes. Yes.
And it's the Supergrow, the small bottle, is ideal for somebody living in a flat,
Yes.
in an apartment. And I've got all my flowers around me, but certainly going to last a hang of a long time, a liter bottle.
Like the G1 will last you a year.
Yes.
Well, I've got one
Yeah.
customer that once a year she buys a 5 liter Super 10, LDC, and K.
Yeah.
It lasts her for the year.
Yeah. The thing is, what I found actually today, John's going to share what he got from Sean's Worrell, was it? From Sean Worrell, from Sean's meeting on Tuesday.
Eric Worry.
But before, yeah, don't worry. But before he does that, I just wanted to say that, you know, we've got to hang around for payday. Don't give up before payday. That's the trouble with a lot of people. They give up just before things start to tick. And yeah, I remember our upline. We hung around at Sapphire for such a long time. And then he dropped out. And then he went to Ruby and he just missed out. So yeah, just hang around for payday. It will come. And the price increase is rather nice, don't you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the bonus is looking
Income.
pretty good so far. Not as
Yeah.
good as last month, but
That's
it's
right.
looking pretty good.
That's right. Not too bad. Yeah. Then you had a phenomenal month last month.
Yeah.
doing
It
it
just
again?
happened.
You're doing it again?
It doesn't look like it's happening. And nah, I'm going to be placing an order just now, but a very small order. Somebody asked.
It's okay.
Yeah. And this weekend, yeah, I just want to share that this weekend we were away down at the coast, and the host that we were staying with, he had tweaked his back. He had been welding. He's a tall man, elderly man. He was a tall man. He had been welding and it was fun, and he had gone for a walk down to the beach. But halfway there, the path was a bit odd, so he misplaced the path, and he said he nearly went through the ceiling because of the pain in his back. Anyway, he opted out of fishing on Friday because he said his back was too sore. So I don't barge in anymore. I used to barge in where I'm very reserved now. But because I don't really know
Oh,
the guy.
my word.
I'm a goody two-shoes now.
Oh, my God.
Mevrouw Dominique.
You'll believe that one day.
By Saturday, I did a few exercises with him. And Sunday, at the lunch table, I gave him 3 days worth of full motion, 2 tablets twice a day. And I said to him, would you allow me to introduce you to these things? And I have a very good new sparring partner who tells the story as well. And the gentleman said, okay, really? And he started reading up on it. And his wife was very interested as well. And I said, you can take 2 now. You've had lunch, so take 2 now, take 2 again tonight, and let me know how you are. On Tuesday, he said, well, I managed to offload the dishwasher with no problem. Now, he's a tall man, so he had to bend down. And I will ask him tomorrow if he's missing his full motion. Because the only time you really know that these things are working is when you haven't been with them for 2 days.
Yeah.
So his 3 days would have ended on Wednesday morning. And so I want to ask him tomorrow, is he missing his full motion or is his back totally better? And then he most probably will order some more. So that was good.
Yeah.
Well
So
done.
it's just a case of keeping your ears open, listening to people's problems. Don't pounce on them because they'll back off, but just gently tell them about it. Because I put our supplements out, and he came into the place where we had a little flat in his backyard, and he came in on the morning and he looked, but he didn't ask, and our plates were full of supplements, and he sort of looked at them and he didn't say a word. At lunch table he said, I saw all your supplements and I thought that was your breakfast. We said, well, that was our pudding. That was after the breakfast. Oh, he said, that's good. So, yeah. So you just talk to people and tell people. And don't throw your status away on your WhatsApp. I put on the other day about you want to make some extra money and so on, just a little blurb. And I had a chap phone me and say, tell me more about it. I told him, he was very keen, told his children, and his children said, if you go on to that thing, I'm never going to speak to you again.
Oops.
So he said, Jenny, I can't do this, I can't do this. I said, well, don't worry about the children, just use the products. So I gave him some LDC, and I gave him, he wanted Tree and N, so I sold him some Tree and N and some Omega, and he walked past here today again. And I said, do you need some more Tree and N? He says, not yet, but I'll let you know. And he said, he's not so anxious anymore. He's not so shaky anymore. He's walking around you all day. So just quietly telling people about the products. Yes, I've stepped back from the business quite a lot, but I will never not talk about the business or all the products because they're so good. And just by quietly telling people about the things, they come back and back and back. So, yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, you don't have to bombard them.
No.
And, if they
And I
don't
think
want
I learned my lesson 2 years ago because when I used to eat, sleep, walk 24 hours a day in near life, I wasn't getting anywhere. When I backed off, suddenly things were starting to happen. So it works both ways. You don't totally ignore the business, but you don't push it down people's throats and then they listen to you.
Mhm. Well, that's what I've been.
Okay, John.
I've been on a course for the last 2 days with Eric Worre, talking about conversations. And he says, you don't talk about your business at all. And he just went through a couple of things about names and contacting people. And he said, send a message. Send an emoji, send 3 dots. And he said, people will contact you back and say, well, what are you doing? Oh, hi, I'm just checking in on you. How's it going? And he says, only by doing that, you don't mention products, you don't mention business, you mention nothing. You're starting a conversation. And he said, it will come out eventually, and that's where you kick in.
That's good. Carry on, Doug.
Okay, hello everyone.
Hi.
I found that tape of Warren very interesting
Eric Worre.
because there's slight variance to what we normally do. And it's those little variances that can make all the difference. And the most important thing I think of, number one, I got from there, is your self-talk in line with your goals? When I say that, and we've had this on our self-talk recently as well, it's got to start off that you are a fully qualified, whatever you want to be. So you've got to start talking that now. That I'm a fully qualified director or a fully qualified movie director, or whatever it is. So that's going to be your initial motivation. Now, listening to that tape there, one of the important things is to create goals that can benefit other people. He was saying so many times that, and I've been guilty of that as well, having a green chart, and there's my 4x4, and there's my this and there's my that, you know what I mean? But you've got to start helping other people. Now, how can we, in our goal, in our business, help other people? Can anyone give me a bit of feedback there?
Fix their back.
Fix it back.
How would our business help other people?
Save money.
Mm.
That's a good one. Okay.
Well-
I think it's in our mission statement. What's our mission statement for Neola? To make this world a what?
Healthier and
Nice.
happier place.
Okay, so that way we can help other people in order to get them in terms of health, wealth, and happiness. So it's got to include them. And if you have a look at starting to set your goals, goal setting, and we've been through this a lot of times, but I can't think of anything better in helping other people if I put my efforts and channel them, say, to Mandy or Ansi or Jim or Sean, and got them to another level, a higher level. Would that be of any help to you?
Yep.
So, no, so if suddenly Mandy is now a director, would that help her lifestyle?
Indeed.
Well, I think it will do, because it's a sphere of influence. So you've Mandy being a director can influence a lot of other people. And the big thing about this business, once you start taking steps, it's amazing. All the others will start coming up with you. I remember when Ingrid Roberts went to Ruby Director. I think there were 3 or 4 other people who were all hanging around SAPA, and we all went to Ruby. It was just that it was always been there. The people has always been there. It was just a matter of putting that to paper. And one of the most important things I got from that tape is to match the activity of what you're doing for that goal. So you can't just say, I'm going to be, say, a director or whatever it is, and then do nothing to create more activity in order for you to possess that step. So looking at your activity, and I don't mean send in a form that you've done 5 BIs here and 10 there. This is up to you. You've got to increase the level of, I'm talking maybe to ourselves. If we can create the level of activity to match that goal. So if you're looking at, say, giving out one Ruby, and we're only 3 directors, so 3 qualified directors is at 4,000 PV each. You've got to start looking at the people that we can work with in order to get them to qualified director. Now, we're very blessed to have Jenny Holiday, and we've got Linda Foster, we've got you, Sean, Jenny, you're well on your way to director. So we've got people, and that's a wonderful thing to have. If I am going to rely on 3 solid directors connected to the webinar, we don't want to yo-yo like 1 month, 2 of you will qualify and a 3rd one no. And then the 4th month all qualify. It doesn't lend itself to a stable business. Ideally, if you are looking for, say, 3 qualified directors, you actually need a 4th one. You need to have that spare in the kitty, if I can use that word. So you work on, if you're going to go for Sapphire, Sean, you're going to work on qualified directors, but you must also start grooming a 2nd one, because sometimes in the one leg you might have a bit of a hiccup, and
Someone might go and get married again.
someone could get married and then they only come back a month or two later. Not mentioning any names, but anyway, it does happen. Okay, for the better. Okay, so I think seriously now,
Keep it in
on
the
the tap.
family.
there's a lot of things that guy said that we can use and start dissecting of them. And I've listened to it again, and I think that it boils down to what activity are you doing that's commensurate with the next level of your game. You don't want to maintain where you are. I'll tell you what, that has got to be the most soul-destroying thing ever, where month in, month out, year in, year out, your plan hasn't taken off, you're still doing the same thing. And that's basically, and I'll listen to that tap again, it's the activity we put in. It's not commensurate, it's not matching to where the level we want to get to. And so, and again, we don't need to have a phone in and say, or a watchdog and say, did you do so many calls, or did you do this and that? You know your activity level. And I think, Sean, you mentioned the other day about what brings your money in. I don't know, there was quite a while ago. It's your activity that will bring you more people. And again, I think it just boils down to recruitment. And I'm guilty of that as well. I think we've got to start looking at people. And in the beginning, and Drew is right, I criticized him once before until he pointed out the error of my ways. I said, Drew, if you're going to recruit 330 every month, 330, I said, you're not going to look after these people. So he said to me, John, how many of those three that you're going to get can you work with? You might have to get 6 or 9 to work with 3. That he was going for the big picture where you can keep on, and this has been our fault, is that when you start recruiting, you get into that mode where you start talking to people, it becomes easier and easier in breaking the ice, and I've got no problem with that. The second stage is to get them to a meeting or get them to a place where they can actually get. And we're very blessed in having that once a month big meeting in Westville, when you can just send people. You don't have to do it all yourself. So I'm going to finish, I can just say, there's lots of other things on that tape that we can use. And I want to thank you, Sean, for bringing it up. Because at first I just said, I've listened to goal setting, I don't know how many times for the last 35 years. I've heard it, I understand it, but I haven't actioned it in the way that it was presented. It's not a brand new way. It might be a new way of identifying where we can start moving forward. And I think if we can identify the various areas where we are lacking as far as that, I'm very blessed to have Kevin alongside me. And he's got a finger on the pulse there. But I think it comes to a stage where we've got to say, right, where are we going? What are we going to do? And for the Osprey team, why are we not the best and the biggest in Natal yet? We've got the people, we've got the product, we've got everything. So it's just a matter of planning. What do we need for Osprey International, for our own teams, and to get you to your next level? And I think each one of you, by December, you're on your way there. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, cool on us. So I think, Jeannie, you got quite a bit of what you call it, experience from doing things at marketplace and that sort of thing. All right.
Yeah.
To tackle out, etc., etc. It's just an awareness, and I find that it's so. When you do it, it's such a slip, and you think, oh, nobody's going to come and whatever. But then once you actually do it, it's fun.
Yeah, it's lots of fun. Yeah, the flea markets are lots of fun. You meet lots of people. especially if you just start talking to folkies and they eventually say, but what's on your table? And then you
Yeah.
give out samples or tell them about it, take their name, contact them later. It's not a pushing into their face. It's just giving out samples. And that's the one thing I wish that we had was little packets of samples of the creams and stuff like that, because that's what got the aloe ferox. I remember going to a show with aloe ferox and they had packets and packets and packets of samples. And the best is you stand on the other side opposite your table because the human doesn't want to get involved. So they'll walk on the other side of the aisle and not at your table. So you catch them, they walk straight into your web and you push a sachet of whatever into their hand. And they say, no, 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 no. Don't. You say, just take it, use it. I don't ever want to see you again. If it works for them, they come back. I had more sales on day 2 than I had day 1 because the people said, yo, you gave me such a lovely hand cream. Tell me more about it. Or, oh, you gave me such a lovely face cream. Tell me more about it. And that's how I got my aloe ferox business. You've just got to be sly, witty. You got to realize that the humans don't want to get involved, so they don't walk at your table. Because if they stop at your table, you're going to ask them, "Can I help you?" But if they don't stop at your table and you walk, and they walk far away, they walk on the other side and they look there in the tree. But in the meantime, you've put something in their hand. They can't refuse it. No, it's free. Take it. Goodbye. I don't want it anymore. And then they go away. So the markets, I had great fun at the markets. So that is one way of doing it. It's not selling products. Not one product on my table was for sale. All my containers were empty because you're not allowed to sell from a table. But all my containers were empty. And I used to take orders and then I supplied to them later on. So it's an information table. That's all it is. And it's just creating an awareness. If you don't put your face out there, nobody will know you.
Yeah, that's true. We used to do it I used to do it quite a lot. And what we used to do is maybe, not maybe, we had a bottle of Super 10. Literally, and I used to do it. Bottle of Super 10, and we'd have a sheet there, and it was a raffle. At the end of the day, somebody would win it, but you had to be there to get it. Well, by the end of the day, nobody was there, so nobody ever got it, but they all knew about it. They all knew about Super 10. So, yeah. So sometimes they got it, but I mean, it was well worth it because they always came back. But people who come back for Super 10 right from when we first started, Super 10 and LNC, mainly Super 10. So you must just go for it. Just try it. It's not that expensive to have a table. And now, just before Christmas, there's lots of these fates going on. I know there's a craft one here where we are. Now, I don't want to push product here where we are. I want to speak to people like one-on-one and see where the kids are. Because, these guys here are all older than John and I.
That's ancient.
96, 93, 92, they're all in their 90s. I can't see them doing dents. So, yeah.
No, they're your product buyers. They don't do the business, they buy your product. Full
That's
motion
right.
and Amiga and mind enhancement.
Yes, and find it also. Yeah, that is right. And aloe vera nuts.
Sure.
So, go for it, you guys.
Thank you, Jen.
I mean, it is fun. It is fun.
Have we got a replacement for acidophilus, by the way?
No,
And aloe vera plus.
just fiber.
Fiber and vitamin B would be your next go-to. I have discussed that with Connie as well, and she agrees with me. But she is fighting big time at the moment because there are plenty of other products on the market at the moment with the exact same strain that has been banned in our lot. So she's demanding, and I think it's getting pretty close to legal cases at the moment. She's demanding that they explain why.
Yeah.
Good. Because the same gentleman that I spoke to over the weekend, I told them about the acidophilus that cured my problem. And he said, oh, and can't I get it anymore? I said, if you've got somebody in America or Zimbabwe or wherever you can get it, but South
Yeah, the
Africa's
country except
government
Africa.
says no.
Yeah.
Yes. So I said to him, I know aloe vera plus is very, very good, but I will tell him about the fiber and the vitamin B. Okay.
Yeah, because the fiber creates the growth compound basically for the gut bacteria to grow on, and the vitamin B regulates the gut acid, which favors the growth of the good bacteria.
Okay.
So a little bit of a slower process, but it also works.
Super.
All right, let me stop the recording.
Getting bright.
Good.